So we'll have a little bit of a lighter topic on this panel. Mike D. Mike D is the CEO and chairman, co-founder of Pickleball for America. And Mike has been pivotal in terms of integrating the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships into Pickle for America. Now what that means is, for the last several years, you've heard from Bob Stroman, who was with the Naples Pickleball Center. That has been merged now with the U.S. Open, and they'll tell you more about it. And so what I'm going to have to do is just turn it over to Mike to tell us what they're doing.
Great. Good morning. Thank you, Jeff and Mark and the group for having us here this morning. I know some of you were out at the National Pickleball Center yesterday playing. Saw Mark out there with his power lefty game. I can tell Mark's like me.
You only saw me for 30 seconds.
He's a former tennis player, because we tend to play the power aspect of pickleball, which is not the game for those skilled players in the room. It's more of a finesse and strategic game, but we'll learn. There's still time for us to learn it.
Well, maybe you did see me now.
Anyway, I just want to take a few minutes to tell you about us. So Pickleball for America, Pickle 4 for short, as Jeff said, is a new company. We were formed in 2022, mostly venture-backed and family office-backed was round one. We're about to go out with round two around this year's U.S. Open Pickleball Championships in April, which we'll talk about. But we have a variety of offline and online digital businesses that we've acquired in the first 18 months or 20 months of our inception. I'm going to talk today about those offline businesses because we're here in Collier County. But just a quick mention on our digital businesses. We own a company called Pickleball Den, which is the fastest growing tournament and league software platform in the sport. About 190,000 users playing in tournaments, clubs, and leagues all around the world. And we also own the Pickler, which is the sport's largest blog. The Pickler reaches everybody twice a month, about 90,000 users with a 68% open rate, which is unusually high. So we have a very fertile audience with pickleball. It is America's fastest growing sport. My co-founder, Bob Bowman, and I felt that the way to approach this sport was through the amateur player. You know, I think a lot of the money on the participation side that's flowed into the sport has been more geared around celebrities owning teams and competing tours, and that's all fine. And if that works out, the rising tide will lift all the proverbial ships. But what we know is that there's probably 30 million people playing this sport at one time or another during a calendar year, and we want to bet on the amateur player as a driver of our business. We love the pros, they're a big part of what we do, but we think it's an amateur first play, and that's kind of how we've constructed our business. So I told you I was going to talk about our offline businesses today, and I'll be brief. The National Pickleball Center, as Jeff just said, is formerly known as the Naples Pickleball Center, for those of you that played yesterday or are playing this afternoon. We can go to the next slide, please. We rebranded just now in January. It is the largest and busiest pickleball facility in the world. We have 65 courts, over 6,000 members.
So, Mike, why not call it Global Pickleball Center?
It's a good suggestion. We acquired the trademark National Pickleball Center. So one of the, it's a good segue, we're right on cue. What we love about our offline businesses is our intellectual property. Everything you'll see me talk about on our offline businesses, we own the IP and trademarks of all the U.S. Open and USOP nomenclature. Over 6,000 members and 10,000 instructional hours annually. It's the future home of the USOP Pickleball Academy, which we're going to launch later this year. We just hired one of the top pros in the country, Justin Romero, not announced yet, to come and be the managing director of this facility. Justin just spent 14 years at the prestigious Ocean Reef Club down in Key Largo. It's one of the largest racket sports communities in the country, over 5,000 members, and we're thrilled to have Justin coming here and moving to Collier County to run our facility. And of course, it is the home of the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. This was truly a private-public partnership. You know, these courts, you may have heard this in prior years, this was a community park. and it started with 6 courts in 2014, and incrementalism. It grew. Collier County invested in it, and Chairman Hall, who you just heard from a minute ago, was instrumental in helping us construct a long-term partnership around privatizing the park. So we basically run it 24/7, 365 for the county. Our contract, this one, runs through 2032, and we've already started to construct a longer-term 20 to 25-year plan, which I'll show you some images about in a second. You can go to the next slide. So I mentioned we are the home of the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. This will be the 10th year, 9th event. They had to skip a year, obviously, because of COVID. It is the most prestigious event in the sport. We just finished our registration and lottery for 2025. We had over 6,000 registrants for only 3,500 spots. We probably could have had 7,000, but we kind of closed the pipes a little bit because we didn't want to disappoint a lot of people. We'll have over 3,000 amateur players and 300 professionals. Yes, we can spell amateur correctly. We'll get on that after this presentation. There's a special kind of amateur players. We have the eye. The attendance for this last year was 50,000. This year we're thinking, based on the interest level and the international interest level, we have over 37 countries represented this year in the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. Last year that was 31. People traveling here spending 5, 10, 15 days playing pickleball. We project the attendance to be 55 to 60,000. And we have the trademark, the biggest pickleball party in the world. That is true. If you've ever been to this event, it's part Jimmy Buffett concert, part county fair, and part U.S. Open Flushing Meadow. It's kind of those 3 roads coming together. But it is a great time and some of the best pickleball in the world. We go to the next slide, please. Thank you. So I mentioned the private-public partnership. We just extended not only the lease for the National Pickleball Center through 2032, but also for the U.S. Open. And we've laid out at the county's request a master plan for this park. Part of my background before being in pickleball was Major League Baseball, and I was fortunate to be a part of the Boston Red Sox organization. When we arrived in 2002, everybody said, you need a new ballpark. There's no room at Fenway. You can't do anything with that ballpark as great as it is. Well, we started closing roads around the ballpark and creating new concourses. We built the Green Monster seats, cantilevered out over Lansdowne Street. We basically increased the envelope of the ballpark to make it what it is today, America's most beloved ballpark. Kind of have a soft spot in our heart about East Naples Community Park as well. This is the Rucker Park for you high school basketball fans here in the room, at the world-renowned Rucker Park in New York and Harlem. This is the pickleball equivalent of that. And to think about moving this event or transplanting these courts would be expensive, but it's also not wise. This has history, and people come from all over the world to play. So phase 1 of this plan is to add a waterproof canopy. The blue canopy there on the left exists today. Unfortunately, it provides shade, but not only does it not keep everybody free and safe from rain, it actually is the slowest to dry because the shade protects the courts from the sun drying the courts. So we're going to add that waterproof canopy. That's been approved. We're co-funding that with Collier County, each putting in $1 million apiece. We expect that will come online in 2027. And you can go to the next slide, please. Longer term, we have massive vision for this park. And this is a master plan with a new main championship gate, increased parking, and a brand new championship court / U.S. Open Academy in the back.
Are those courts 1 through 9 here?
This is where you played yesterday.
Yeah. Okay.
So you can see it does not look like that today.
Yeah.
This is about a $25 million project in today's dollars. And we haven't begun that negotiation, but the county loves this vision. And we believe we can do this largely through private financing if we can come back to the county in 2 or 3 years and construct a 30-year lease for the rights to access and run the park. We'll do the heavy lifting on the financing side and take what is already the best pickleball facility in the world and take it to the next level. So that structure you see in the back is the U.S. Open Academy and the championship court. Go to the next one, please. So this is actually overlaid over 12 courts that we would add. So 65 courts would go to 77. And this championship court and that building in the back, which would be our headquarters for the USOP Academy and would double as a hospitality area for the US Open. The capacity here is about 4,700 seats. Our current capacity is 1,600 seats. And as there was a waiting list and demand for participation, there's a similar waiting list and demand for spectators. We just don't have enough tickets. Scarcity is a good thing, unless you can sell more. So anyway, we're really enthusiastic about this as a long-term vision. If not here, where?
I'm curious, since you have a soccer stadium, you ever sometimes create more mobile courts, enlarge that?
Yeah, so a couple years ago, we were in the mobile court business. Given our baseball lineage, we ran events at Fenway Park in Boston and Oracle Park in San Francisco. It is extremely expensive to transport courts. Yeah. And we lost a lot of money. But we were happy to lose it, kind of, because we thought it really put us on the map and it showed that, you know, pickleball is here to stay, playing in venues like that during the baseball regular season. Part of the expense was putting the field back in playing condition after we lifted the courts. But I do think there are opportunities for pop-up tournaments. We're going to look at that, but we're really focused right now on our Collier County operations because, last slide please, this is the pickleball capital of the world, which is also another trademark that we own. You know, there is, you can look at the Sun Belt states of California, Arizona, and Florida, but no star shines brighter in the world of pickleball than Collier County. And as great as it is, we believe there's a huge opportunity in working with the tourism board and our friends and landlord at Collier County to grow this event exponentially to an international audience. So,
I did see Deutsche Wine and Spirits as a sponsor.
I have
That's one of our families as well.
I have a part-time engagement with Deutsche Family Wine and
Oh,
Spirits in addition to my pickleball activity. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you, Mike.
I'll save for the Q&A section, but thanks.
Okay, so you may have heard that there is this big problem that pickleball's growth is being inhibited by neighbors and neighborhoods, people who don't like this sound. Pickleball noise maybe hits 65, 70 decibels. And while anybody who plays never even gave it a moment's thought, the frustrated who don't have issues with it. And so they've been inhibiting the growth of the sport as rapidly as it's been growing. Brandon Tietz is going to double everything that they've done with a simple invention that he's going to tell you about now.
Super simple invention. But Brandon Tietz with Excel Digital Solutions. We are a startup out of Grand Rapids, Michigan. That's why I have this cold, the weather back and forth, so excuse me. Yeah, no, I'm recovering from it, so you're good. But so as we talk about business and sports, right, we as an organization look at what are the problems that we're facing, and how do we as a 3D printing additive manufacturing company benefit those that are in this room. So, you know, Jay, with the progress over on the beach, and obviously some other things in the future here in Collier County, right? Noise is an issue, and so a lot of those projects funnel through pickleball, as crazy as it is. Mike's, you know, alluded to the fact it's the fastest growing sport in the U.S. So as we looked at what are the problems that it's facing and how do we look at a solution for those problems, there's a lot of people focusing on the paddle side of quietness, which hasn't really solved that issue. We believe that the DigiPro does exactly that. So we have invented and have design and utility IP globally on a quiet play pickleball that plays as true, uniquely like a traditional pickleball. Feel free to pass these through too. So today the issue is through the manufacturing process, we're stumbled a little bit with the color. So it's a powder bed fusion based manufacturing process, which is white, an agent is black, right? Do the math, put those two together, you get something that's gray like this. Not ideal depending on court colors and background and things like that. However, the opportunity to grow pickleball, maybe not for the US Open because they have so much land and it's not an issue of noise, but a lot of areas it is. And so the idea is to get to something like this in the future. That again, yes, it's different from the traditional green or yellow ball, but we want exactly that, right? We are different, this product is different, and it solves that issue. So where do we go next? We look to iterate the color. Do you want one, or you have a question?
Good throw.
Heard how loud that was when it hit the table, though, right?
So we are USA Pickleball approved for quiet categories specifically. Mike alluded to in their goal to look into the masses, the amateur players. This is where the focus is here, right? It's not necessarily on the pros. The sport.
It's an amateur first sport.
Exactly, right? And I mean, it's still the wild, wild west. There's a lot of growth opportunities yet to go. There's a lot of politics. There's a lot of different things going on. There's a lot of new leagues created. There's a lot of new great stuff like the U.S. Open that we're excited about as well. So there's a lot of equipment out there. We feel that the DigiPro and the invention that we have is going to enable people to continue the growth of facilities, real estate, as well as sport that grows people, the attraction to those facilities.
Focus group today with this group at the National Pickleball Center.
Happy to do it.
Not today.
So you heard Jay talk about how they've done some serious development and worked hard with the city to make the Naples Beach and Four Seasons a huge success here. But one thing that they had to take off the table in order to get their final approvals was they couldn't get any pickleball courts put in. So I think Brandon's on the road to helping resolve that issue as well, so that it will expand. All right, next I'd like to introduce Nick Davidoff. Nick has, and I think you heard Mike talk about their academy. I suspect that Nick and Mike are going to be getting together because Nick has something really impressive to show you.
Yeah, can we put the video up?
I'm going to put it up. But introduce yourself broadly.
Yeah, so my name is Nick Davidoff. I came here from Palo Alto, California, and I run an early stage venture capital firm that is based on a community of now 147 engineers. We invest in early stage AI companies with now 121 in the portfolio, including some of the bigger ones that that grew out of it, like Perplexity AI. But I've been following, what AI can do in sports for quite some time. My own company was doing cameras that understand what people do in video. So I'm really excited about this company, and I asked them to send me like a demo video, and they sent me a pickleball video, which is kind of fun. But you've probably seen, this stuff with squares for quite some time already, but this is new. So you can track every spot on the body in 3D space and understand exactly what kind of movement, and then you can reconstruct it and watch it in like VR. How cool is that? So a lot of sports companies are trying to get data on like what makes Messi different from other soccer players. But right now what people do is that they have like one wearable on every soccer player that basically gives them one data point, like position and maybe heart rate. But if you look at Messi specifically, what makes him very different, and like anybody who watches soccer can immediately tell that, is that he's like superpowers that before he gets the ball, he spins his head around quite a lot, scanning the field, and no wearable can track that. This can. Same with pickleball, you can track, other stuff. And what AI is doing, not only here, but for sports in general, and actually it's doing it across all of the fields, it's democratizing access to, imagine you have a perfect coach, a perfect scout, and they're available 24/7 for, cents per day to run from a simple camera feed. All you need for this, for this 3D thing, your phone camera works.
Well, just how otherwise are you seeing AI impact the sports world?
So right now, it's the field's lagging behind a little bit. It's gonna catch up. So there's a few companies that are experimenting with this individual consumer kind of applications, which, for example, smart mirrors that like watch you exercise and tell you put your elbows down. These are not yet too advanced, but it's getting there. As the field getting more and more investment, it kind of spills out. And you probably heard about Stargate announced recently $500 billion investment in AI infrastructure. That's also going to propel things forward. But yeah, it's getting there. I think 2-3 years from now, we're all going to have this perfect physical therapist, perfect coach available for everybody that is watching you at all times and telling you, hey, Nick, like, get your posture straight, posture check. It's not a huge market yet, but there are billion-dollar companies doing analytics on sports. For example, Sports Track, I think, is the name of the company. They're paying this startup, I think, $400K a year on a single contract to just get more data points. Right now it's manual, it's outsourced to Malaysia, where people just watch a video and try to track like where the pass happened, where like what kind of curve the ball had, and that's not very accurate as you can imagine.
Thank you.
I'm just imagining China and U.S. Olympic teams using this.
Okay, next I would like to introduce Sean Gruhl. He is Vice President of DCA Partners, and Sean is responsible for leading the evaluation and execution of new investments for DCA's private equity fund. So, Sean Gruhl.
Thanks. Yeah, so I'm Sean. I'm with DCA Partners. So DCA is a lower middle market private equity firm as well as family office. And so on the family office side, we really invest across all different asset classes and alternatives. So that includes private equity. It also includes commercial real estate, multifamily real estate, agriculture, and pretty much everything in between. And we do so in ways that are highly tax efficient. So a lot of folks are focused on gross IRR or net IRR, net of fees and expenses. We're hyper-focused on net IRR after taxes. So that's something I think that is pretty unique. And then we have our affiliated private equity fund. We are really kind of first institutional capital into lower middle market businesses, typically in B2B services and B2C services. So the investment that I'll be talking about today, which is most relevant to this discussion, is one of our more recent investments in a company called Smash Park. So Smash Park is a multi-unit operator of what's called experiential dining and entertainment venues. So they basically combine your traditional restaurant and bar with sports and activities. So think of concepts like Topgolf or Dave & Buster's or Chuck E. Cheese or bowling alleys, things like that. But the activity that Smash Park is centered around is actually pickleball. So they have 6 to 7 pickleball courts at their locations, but they're also multi-activity. So they're not just focused exclusively on pickleball. They also have bowling and axe throwing and karaoke and darts, arcade games, and then they're also indoor-outdoor, so they also have the outdoor games like cornhole and bocce ball and shuffleboard, so it's kind of all-inclusive, multi-activity. So they have 3 locations today, with a 4th under construction opening this summer. So they're in the Midwest in Des Moines, Iowa, Minneapolis, Minnesota, Omaha, Nebraska, and then soon to be Columbus, Ohio, so all throughout the Midwest. I think what's really interesting about this company and what got us really excited about the investment opportunity is really twofold. So I'll talk about one is the concept of everything, and then I'll talk a little bit about the math and returns of the investment. So on the concept side of things, there's all the soft benefits of when you build these new locations, you're spurring local economy, you're creating 100+ jobs, you're generating $1 million+ of local tax revenue. You're hiring local subcontractors to build the facility. So there's all those local benefits. I think one of the really big tailwinds that we saw behind these concepts is how differentiated and unique these concepts actually are. So we're going into tier 2, tier 3 markets, and you're bringing this highly differentiated amenity to these markets that they don't really have access to. So there's no shortage of your restaurant and bar in these markets. There's no shortage of sports facilities and recreation facilities and parks. But what there is a shortage of is amenities that can combine and blend both of those things and execute them really well. So I think that's something that's really unique. We talked a lot about digital and AI over the past several days, which is highly important. It's something we're really focused on, especially as it relates to tech-enabled services. But I think what's a big tailwind behind this concept is actually the younger generations. What we've seen in the data is they're thriving, or they're really still craving, in-person, social, engaging, interactive experiences, and so that's something that I think Smashpark offers, to their local, tier 2, tier 3 markets. So that's the conceptual side of things, why we like the opportunity. Now on the math behind it, I think we all kind of know that restaurants and bars a lot of times operate on really slim margins. The benefit of these sorts of concepts is when you're adding in activities and sports, now you're adding in a very high margin product to your overall service mix. And so when you're building out pickleball courts, or bowling lanes, or axe throwing lanes, or whatever else, these are very high margin activities. And so they require very minimal ongoing operating costs or maintenance costs to sustain them. And so once you've built them out and you have reservations for these different lanes and courts, that revenue is dropping down to EBITDA at a 90 to 95% margin. So really high flow through margin on those activities. So that gets you to a really strong margin location. So that's on the margin side of things. And then I want to talk a little bit about kind of entry exit multiple. So if you guys are familiar with private equity, a big trend and strategy is roll up M&A. It's buy and build strategies. And typically that's talking about rolling up and buying mom and pop businesses. The other side of the equation is build, right? It's not just buy, it's also build. So that was kind of our strategy, is how can we build locations at cheaper than it is to acquire the platform. So when you acquire the platform, let's say you're going in at a 10 times EBITDA multiple, the way that these locations can perform is you can put in about $3 million roughly of equity, and if they can generate $1.5 million EBITDA, you've effectively created a new location at 2 times EBITDA. So if you're in the platform at 10 times and you build enough locations at 2 or 3 times, you effectively blended down your entry multiple into the low to mid single digits. And so what that leads to is highly compelling returns. Now, obviously there's a ton of risk in being able to replicate that over and over again, especially in the new markets, but it's something that got us really excited about the opportunity.
I just want to keep it rolling.
Yeah.
We have one more pickleball presentation. And it's a vision that's coming to reality.
So yesterday you heard Kristen Curry talk about, she moved to Bayfront, which is right here across the street, Bayfront, and she looked across and closed her eyes and she dreamed of building the community playhouse. And so Bayfront must have something inspirational about it, because I also live at Bayfront, where we were singing karaoke last night. So when you leave today and you look across the street, you'll see that what I saw. I was looking out because I lived there, and all of a sudden I saw this roof that you see over my head.
Instead of a playhouse, you saw this.
Well, I saw that after
This
what you
slide
saw.
before Mark.
This is what I see. This is what I saw, and this is what I thought of. The next one. There you go. But you can imagine that there might be a little bit of neighborhood opposition to this. So what I did was I've been working this process, and so one of the issues is that they were afraid I would take away their view. And so I'm working with the Pickle Glass company to put up a two-sided wall that is not only something you can see through, but it's also soundproof.
Now I get it.
Not soundproof, but 50%.
They don't like the sound.
It'll
Then you
bring
found
down
each
the sound.
other.
But
Right.
the thing is, it's the ball that makes the noise, and so that's why I told you that Brandon is changing what's going to happen around the world with pickleball. Go back, please. So that's, like I said, the wall.
Yeah.
But now what Brandon has also done, which is unique, this is the first one of its kind. This, and like all pickleballs, they actually do glow under black light. This quiet pickleball will glow under black light. And what we're going to do is create pickleball by day and club dazzleball by night.
You calling it club dazzleball now?
It will be club dazzleball by night. But this will be the official ball created by Brandon that will be the quiet pickleball, so the neighbors can't be disturbed. They can't see too much light because black lights only have spots. They're not lighting up the entire area. And this will be an opportunity that's been developed in Naples, considering that there's nowhere else to build things like this. But we will be able to make, while we have the National Pickleball Center as the pickleball capital of the world, now we'll have Bayfront as the dazzleball capital of the universe.
The universe.
I like universe.
Better trademark that fast.
It's trademarked, don't worry. It's trademarked.
All right, well, this is my sport that I do. Right today, our soccer game in New York is canceled because of snow.
So this is a video of the stadium, and you have the other video as well after that?
I'll go get it then. But let's do with this first.
Let's go that way. Okay.
I'm going to give you more room. I'm going to watch the video.
I feel it. But is Herb Street going to do soccer commentating?
No.
Okay.
It was just there that day we filmed. You're going to pull up the other video.
Yeah, I'll take a
I'll
minute
introduce
or two.
myself. So,
Yeah.
hey guys, Bob Moreno, CEO FC Naples, the first professional sports team here, home to Naples and Collier County. How many of you guys have heard of FC Naples? All right, a couple in the room. Good. So we are bringing professional soccer to Naples, and really more than professional soccer, we're bringing a community-focused first activity for families to do on your typical Saturday nights. So one of the sort of complaints here is there's not much to do at night with families. How many times can I go to the Children's Museum or the restaurants? So we're bringing professional soccer here as a family activity. So the video we're about to play, it's a couple minutes long, just gives you the process of how we built the brand and the crest, and then I'll get into this.
This is paradise. For us, it is home. Drawn to its warmth and abundance, we came and found the glow from our sunsets is greater than gold. Here, happiness is in abundance, but something has been missing. For a beautiful place needs a beautiful game. Its energy, movement, fierceness, and ability to gather, to be resilient after a loss, and to create joy during a win. If Naples is our home, Paradise Coast is our playground. Our place to shine in the sun and play soccer on the world stage. We are FC Naples.
Is there more to it?
Yeah, 1 second.
3, 2, 1.
So you chose Michigan colors.
Yeah. So that video there, so, real quick. So when we came out and announced the team around a year ago, our mission was to create something for the community. So we had listening sessions, online conversations, social conversations to extract from the community what they wanted out of the crest and colors. So everything you see on our crest, our colors, and everything is dictated by the community. We start playing in a month and a half. So March 8th is our first game. We're very excited. Last night we had our first preseason game at the stadium at Paradise Coast Sports Complex. Whoever hasn't been here, I suggest you guys go. It's a beautiful complex, 9 multi-purpose fields highlighted by the soccer stadium. So we are, the process of creating a team has been incredible. Securing the franchise from the USL, working very closely with the county commissioners and the county government, including Commissioner Hall, who's been incredibly supportive of our mission here to bring professional sports. And then we started sort of talking to potential sponsors, getting corporate partners, selling season tickets, and then recruiting the team. So we have a team representing 12 nationalities from all over the world. We got players all the way from Argentina to Colombia to Croatia, England, Ireland, Spain, etc. So what we're going to build here is not only a fantastic, family-friendly, something to do on Saturday nights, affordable tickets, food trucks, beer garden, etc. Experiences like you were just mentioning. But we're also going to become a hub for player development for soccer, right? So with the proximity to Latin America, we have some investments in soccer in Europe as well. We plan for Naples to be a hub where we can bring young talent from South America, develop them here, not only as professional athletes, but also as people, and then those guys can move on to bigger and better leagues. So if there's any questions, Daniel and I are here, but thank you so much.
Thank you.
So, sports, questions? Does this mean you're not playing pickleball? Yeah. You gonna change?
I will. So my question, first I thought that's a very stupid question. Then we had a discussion here and some people also had it. It's maybe this videos online where people are trying to make funny noises and kind of ASMR and kind of satisfying sounds. And they are getting like millions of views, etc. So the sound of hitting the ball actually might be something that people are can get satisfaction from, because it's like a very special sound, very decent. And do you think some people might potentially miss this sound, or like try to have it? It's like, in this new MacBook computers, actually you don't have a click, it's a virtual click in order for you to get some sense. And how do you think, is there any correlation or whatsoever, any thinking around the actual sound and people willing to actually have it?
I personally think, I have nothing scientific behind that, except there's some kind of a thing that they have like a tone thing that somebody does to hypnotize sort of, or calm their nerves. Anyway, I know that people like the sound who play the game, but that's the way the game started. But if you look at padel, for example, there's no sound with padel, but people love padel. And I look at padel and say that's an amazing sport because it sort of combines tennis and squash. So it's where you're coming from, I guess. In squash, they used to have hard balls and soft balls. Very hard rubber that were vulcanized, and then softballs that when they have a different feel and they sort of change the game, but it's a variation. So there's a lot of different balls in squash. There's a lot of different balls in other sports, and then for pickleball the same. And it boils down to, do you want to play or not? And so people will make the sacrifice, I believe.
Yeah, great question. Mike alluded to 38, 40 million players playing the sport, but the inverse of that is how many millions, hundreds of millions of people who don't play the sport, who frankly don't like the noise. Those who play the sport don't mind it, frankly, I'll admit, as biased I am to our ball, I don't mind the noise, I like it, that pop. You do still get an audible sensory feedback, right? So you have your tactile, as you're explaining, right? That sensory feedback that you need. Where a ball to a paddle, traditional, is a pop, ours is a click. So you have a lower decibel, lower frequency pitch that we've designed and engineered that doesn't travel to those who don't like that noise. But on the court, right, when you're hitting those shots that you normally hear, you still hear that on the court. It just doesn't transfer out into the environment that annoys the folks that are further out. And hopefully you guys will get experience to play with that and see that today as well. Thanks.
You want to comment?
I'm the wrong guy to ask because I live within a half mile as the crow flies of 79 pickleball courts of East Naples Community Park and where I live at the Isles of Collier Preserve next door. But I will say, I mean, I take the dogs out at night and you hear things obviously at nighttime more vividly. And there's a certain harmony to the sound that to me is soothing. And now, look, I'm sure that doesn't fit to your point. Most of, some people. My experience in communities that we've dealt with is that it's usually the vocal minority. It's like most things. It only takes one or two people to raise their hand and say, I hear that noise, I'm going to make a stink about that. So whether or not that changes over time, we'll see. But certainly not my experience, not the case here in Naples. People kind of expect it here. Pickleball is so woven into the fabric of this community at this point. When you move here, if you're not moving here for pickleball, you're moving here knowing you have to accept pickleball as it is today.
So taking that question to soccer, one of the panelists who couldn't make it, he had knee surgery, was Jack Wyant, and he's also an owner of FC Cincinnati, and they specifically chose materials for their stands so that the fans would make noise. So that they chose the noisiest aluminum or whatever it would be. What did you choose?
Well, the stadium was built already, so we didn't have much of a choice, but we do have an incredible supporter section that's going to be filled with noise, with drums, the face painting, the smoke bombs, because in soccer that's
the
critical.
average ticket price?
So that's what's so beautiful. Our average ticket price is $30 a game, right? Yeah, it's for the community. Our most expensive seat, you're on the pitch, like the Jack Nicholson type seat, is $110 a game. So we're close to 2,000 season tickets already sold. Our capacity is 5,000 only. So we're off to a great start, but obviously we need all the support that we can get.
Other questions? Before we get
Yes, Mark. Can you hear me?
Yes, Adam, go ahead. Go ahead, Adam.
Yes. Good morning, everyone. My question is about FC Naples. You're talking about forming the academy, attracting Latin American players. Do you have a relationship with any of the La Liga teams, such as Barca, who has an academy in Miami, or any other academies in the States? That's my question. Thank you.
Thank you for the question. Yes, we have relationships with not only the local Naples academies, obviously, but academies across the country and across the world. So yes, and I think it's not so much competition. There are so many soccer players, right, and so little spots in professional that I think it's about giving the right guys here the right opportunities. Here in the U.S., I don't know how familiar you guys are with soccer worldwide, but around the world, it's all about merit-based, right? If you're good, you make it on the team and you keep going up. Here in the U.S., it's more the pay-to-play format, which is whoever can afford it can play on these teams, right? So we really want to do something to change that and give people who have the talent and have the ability to get to that pro stage, but maybe don't have the resources to that ability.
Fair enough. Any other questions? You got it.
I was just going to ask, where in the hierarchy of MSL, who are you playing? I live in Connecticut, and there's the Hartford team.
Yes.
And so are you at that level? And so it's kind of interesting to see, as a novice guy, we understand AAA baseball and the big leagues. Where does this fit in that, so we could understand where you're going? And it sounds like to me a great idea, and I wish you all the best of luck.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Great question. So it's the MLS, right, where Lionel Messi plays, and that league is modeled like the NFL, NBA, where nobody goes in, nobody goes out. And then the USL has Division II and Division III of US soccer. Hartford is in Division II. We're a part of Division III. So we're going to be playing, it's 14 teams in our league, projected to be closer to 20 in a couple of years across the country. And there are rumblings and there's conversations inside of the league of doing a promotion relegation style, just like there are in England, Spain, and everywhere else in the world, where if you finish top 2, top 3, you can move up. If you finish at the bottom, you can move down. But for the first time this year, there's a Jägermeister Cup happening, where Division 2 and Division 3 are playing each other. So we're actually going to be hosting the Tampa Bay Rowdies that are part of Division II here in Naples on July 4th, which is going to be an epic game. So we're part of the USL. Thank you.
So, we've got a little thing called pickleball to play. I don't know if Mike, I just saw Nanette. You want to come up and say a few words? Well, we're not going to be on courts 1 to 9 this time.
That's right. We are going to be on courts 40 through 49. And for those of you that were on the WhatsApp, I sent out a message this morning. So even if you're not playing, which I really encourage everybody to come out and try it. So if you've never played, we have 3 pros on hand. And even if you don't play, just come and check out the facility. It's 65 amazing courts. We have a beautiful pro shop. It's worth seeing. We are the home, as Mike, I'm sure, gave you a great overview of the U.S. Open Pickleball Championships. So I encourage you to come on down and check it out.
You can play in dress clothes, so if you're not dressed, I mean, it's like
I
you
heard
could.
something about cowboy boots, so
Yeah,
cowboy
it's-
boots are not encouraged.
You know who you are.
Yeah, and when you park, when you drive into the park, you'll see a very large blue canopy. I'd like you to drive all the way around it and park way in that back corner. We are to the left of our pro shop, which now has nice new big signage. So thank you. I hope to see you guys on the court.
Any questions about that, logistics?
Snacks, food, drinks.
Can you say the name of the address? And I have room in my car if somebody doesn't want to.
Wonderful. It's 3520 Thomason Drive.
East Naples Community Park.
Yeah, or if you Google search.
Does anyone else have room in their car?
Collaborative community.
Blue? Mitch? Anita? Anyone need a ride? Okay, find the,
We got room.
Sue's got room. Great. All right, we'll see you out there. Thank you, everyone.
See you on the court.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What color was it?
Come join our 361 firm community of investors and thought leaders. We have a lot of events created by the community as we collaborate on investments and philanthropic interests. Join us.